Hi everyone, this is what Becky lost last night, and what I've lost is the whole colouring book that I just finished. But I've got a picture, so I'm going to show you today in the video how I created this lovely sky in the back of this picture. You can use this effect on any of your colouring backgrounds, and we're going to use Neocolor II crayons. Let's take a look. Ah, memories. I remember this book. Okay, so I hope it turns up soon so I can crack on with another picture from it. We're in Hannah Carlson's City Among the Stars. This was the colour palette that I used. Linked colour cubes are in the description below. The colour Neocolor IIs that I'm using today are pink and night blue. Now these are the water-based Caran D'ache crayons, so you basically scribble them on and go a little bit crazy with water. Now before we get started, I just want to do a little shout out to two of my young fans, Ariana and Alex, because they are so awesome and they love watching my videos. So hello guys. Right, so we're going to get on with scribbling, and this is the easy part. All I'm doing is scribbling the colours in different patches. You can do this randomly or with a purpose. Quite frankly, I'm just going for it because in this style we just want to have a nice, what would you call it, ethereal, magical sky. But this could be any kind of background, so if you just have a plain background and you just want to go a little bit wild with your colours, bring them all in. We know that blue and pink will blend and they'll mix and make a nice mauve or purpley colour, so we know that those two colours are going to work nicely. If you use something like reds and greens, you're going to get some brown because obviously they're opposite on the colour wheel. But yeah, these are very easy to use. These are more artist quality than something like a gelato or a distressed crayon from Tim Holtz, but all of those products will work exactly the same. What I found with these though is that they have a really high pigment payoff. So you have a choice here. Now, I've decided to test out, because I'm not a big fan of using water in my colouring books because I don't like the crumpling of the pages. So I'm trying here with my clear alcohol blending pen. And you can use that to move it. But what I found with the Neocolors is that it doesn't quite blend the colours and make them travel very far. So what I would have had to have done was gone in and used a lot more crayon, and then maybe not get quite the effect that I want, because I'm finding it's just kind of blending it where I've scribbled and not moving it. So in a second you'll see that I'll give up on this technique and go in with my water brush. Luckily this book paper actually held the water much better than I thought when I had tested before, and because I guess it's just a smaller area, you can, you know, it's not going to destroy the paper too much. Another good thing about the Neocolors over a gelato or a distress crayon is that they take very, very little water. So your results may vary if you use one of the more craft aimed crayons, because you may find yourself having to use a lot more water and then your pages may buckle. So I'm just checking that one. The alcohol does go through like normal, but none of the pigment does, and then when the alcohol evaporates you won't get any staining on the other side. In a second I've decided that the alcohol pen is not for me. However, in a coming up video you will see that I do use these very well with the Doan Inktense pencils. So for watercolor pencils, your alcohol blending pen is much better for that. But all the same, I wanted to try out with the alcohol pen anyway, because I already knew they worked with watercolor pencils, so I thought I'd give it a go so that anyone at home, I mean, this technique probably works really good for something else. Not really what I'm looking for here, but it's another technique. Put it in your little technique library in your head and bear it in mind. So now that I've respectfully rage quit on the alcohol pen idea, I've decided to just go in with a regular water brush. These are one of those brushes that you fill up with water, gently squeeze, and the water flows. And I'm loving this effect much more. You can see I can actually push the crayon around a lot more. And all I'm going to do is smoosh those colours together, and this will take a little moment or so, so I'll speed up for a bit and then you'll see how I go in and do any refinement. So now that I've pushed around the existing pigment on the page as much as I can, I'm now taking the water brush direct to the crayon. This means that I can add more pigment down and blend that in, especially where I did that little test with the alcohol pen. I need to go over that with a bit more to get that moving and to remove some of the strokes there. But this is just a nice easy process. You're basically just using it like a regular watercolor, just taking it on with the brush and going for it really. So I'm going to mix between the blue and the pink. So remember, whatever colors you're going for, however many colors you want to use, just mix it up. I mean, just kind of work intuitively really. I do have a video scheduled where I will show you how I coloured in the unicorns from start to finish, so keep an eye out for that. But what I've decided at this point is that I wanted it to be more subtle, more mystical in the background. So what you can see me using here now to go on top is Panpastel. This is the violet tint. Now the tint colours that they brought out, they're quite translucent. So what they're really good for is if you take a complementing colour to what you've got underneath, they will go on top of your watercolours beautifully, and it just takes away any brush strokes, any harsh lines between the colours, and it will blend it all out, bring it all into the same almost colour filter, and it will give you this beautiful dreamy kind of effect on the end. So check out the left to the right. So obviously the left is how it was originally, the right is what the Panpastel adds. So it's an optional step, but I think it worked really well, and I'm definitely going to use this again. And to finish this off, I do like to go in with a bit of white work at the end. So this is my basic Posca white pen. This one looks like the 1MR nib, and I'm just dotting on some stars. So again, once you've got that Panpastel down, things like pencils and acrylic pens on top go down really well. This is a slightly larger nib, so this is the 3M, so that I can get some bigger stars, and I'm just sort of trying to be random. Fun thing I remember from maths back in the day is they said that humans are impossible at creating random patterns. So I always try to disconnect my brain when I'm doing my stars and just kind of lay them down. Otherwise you will naturally try and find a pattern. Couple of little strokes on the fine nib again, up, down, left and right to give them a little sparkle. And that's how I finished the sky. The clouds, I've got a video coming for that, and the unicorns, I have a video coming for that as well. The entire speed video, I'll put a link in the description below, as well as any links to any of the projects that I've used. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon. And by the way, you're amazing. Take care.